Danny, obviously the FA Cup tie against Kettering tomorrow. Maybe a chance to use the squad?
Yes and no. I think someone just asked me then in my previous press that chance for the fringe players, but I think apart from Harley Curtis, who hasn't really had a run in the team because of how well players have done his position, everyone's really had a game and everyone's started some real important fixtures. Everyone's been available, bar 1 or 2 injuries, and everyone goes into every weekend expecting to play or knowing that they can be chosen by the manager and us. So yeah, I don't know really. I think it certainly won't be, you know, how we approached the FA Trophy last year, which was to play some young lads and blood them in and you know, obviously try and win the game, but we knew there was a risk that you wouldn't because you're playing a lot of youngsters. Certainly won't be the case tomorrow. We want to get in the first round. The league's the priority, but this is a very close second.
Yeah, I think probably the one position that everyone has been talking about this week is the goalkeeper position. Maybe a chance to see someone like a Ryan Boot. Is that a possibility tomorrow? Yeah,
possibility. But even I suppose what you define as fringe, and I suppose as a fringe player, he's played God knows how many games in this league and had so much success. So he'd be ready to step in if called upon. We'll go down, train today, work it out. We've had a few meetings this morning and discussed what we're going to do with the team. We've got 7 subs, so I think bar 1 or 2, all our first team pros are going to be involved.
Yeah, it's an exciting game, isn't it? You know, the FA Cup never disappoints, and you know, although Kettering are a sort of smaller club on paper to us, they're not going to turn up here and make it easy, are they?
No, I think we sold over 4,000 tickets, which is great for a 4th round qualifier. I think Ashley Kirk was saying yesterday that before COVID we played Wrexham in the same tie 4th round qualifier, and it's only 2,500. So it shows how the town's getting behind the club, how they're behind this competition, and how we are going to go for it as well. In terms of our setup and what we do, you know, there's no complacency our end. Kettering are having a poor season, probably by their own admission. They've had a fall from grace. I remember playing at their old ground a few years ago, and I think there was 4,000 or 5,000 there, big stadium, and they were a proper National League team. So they'll want to get back there. They're having a tough time at the minute. I think they're bringing 500 or 600 supporters. I think the supporters will probably treat it as a day out, but I'm sure Andy Leeson and his players will want to cause an upset, and we've got to be ready for them.
Yeah, and they've actually got some really good players, haven't they? And lots of quality and some experienced players. I think I'm right in saying Leon Clark plays for them. You know, massive AFL player. So, sort of, how important is it going to be to stop their threats? Yeah, it is, and I think obviously if they're a team of lads that never played anywhere like this before, they might be turn up and take 10-15 minutes to get into the atmosphere. But as you say, people like Leon Clark, you know, Langmead at the back, they're lads who've been pros for years and years. So the club and the attendance won't faze them at all. They might have a few youngsters, which it will, and we hope it does. But I think we've just got to make sure that our quality comes out from the first whistle. The players are aware that, you know, these sort of games, if you go an hour or 70 minutes without scoring, or more importantly without playing well, it becomes really tough and the nerves start to kick in. We have to make sure we approach it like a normal league game. But those group of players, believe me, are going to do that. How is the fitness of the squad and sort of how is everyone looking?
Good as gold. Obviously it's good that Shex was the only real injury that's come back. Quiggs is going to be a major doubt, sadly. Done his ankle at Bournemouth, it flared up, then went down, and it's still a bit swollen, kind of flared up again. So we're not going to risk him tomorrow as it stands, but we'll see how he comes through a bit of running this morning. Yeah,
I was going to say, is that sort of a longer term injury with Quiggs, or is it something we're not quite sure about yet?
When there's swelling on the joint, it's hard because you have to wait for it to come down to assess the damage. Quiggs, like all players, says he's fine, but his ankle says different. So it's a game that I think we probably won't risk him in tomorrow, but we'll have a look today and see how he gets on. But yeah, probably more of a no than a yes.
And just moving away from the FA Cup fixture on to Bailey Clements and Bailey Hobson, how are they getting on their loans in sort of your and the management team's opinion?
Ever so well. Bailey Hobson's, we've had rave reviews. We've sent scouts to go and watch him scoring goals. You know, for their sake, I think, you know, they're hoping he can help them get out of that relegation danger zone. And Bailey Clement actually trained with us yesterday because he's, you know, we're not going to let him play in the cup for them. So he trained with us, and he's really enjoying his time down there. Loves the lads. So it's nice to see Bailey smiles in the face, and that's why people go out on loan to get some game time, but also to know that, you know, if they do come back, they're ready to come back in this team and help our promotion push.
And then just finally, you've already mentioned it, over 4,000 fans here tomorrow for an FA Cup qualifying round. It's a pretty impressive figure compared to other years. So sort of how much does that show how far the club's come and how big our support actually is?
Yeah, I mean, I said about the crowd earlier, about Wrexham about a few years ago, 2,500, but I wasn't here then, so I can't really talk too much how far it's come. I'm sure the supporters have always been there. All I can say is that since I've been at the club, you know, our attendances very rarely have gone under 6,500, which is a credit to the town, credit to the players, and credit to the supporters. You know, for keep turning up. So I think that, you know, going into tomorrow with that crowd, it doesn't turn it into, you know, I've seen some of these fourth round qualifying games where only one stand's open, you know, because I don't think only like 2,000 people are going to turn up. You're getting over 4,000 people for a qualifier is fantastic. Obviously everyone's main aim is to see us get promotion, and hopefully because of how well we're doing in the league, it's a different type of approach from supporters tomorrow. They can maybe a bit more relaxed turning up, but when the whistle goes, I can assure them that we're going to treat it like any other game.
I guess the motivation for the players tomorrow and the fans as well is, you know, there is some, you know, really big and decent teams that we could draw in the next round. You know, someone like a local derby like a Mansfield.
Yeah.
Is that something that's maybe in the, not necessarily in the heads of the players, but is that sort of a bit of motivation for you guys to sort of get through to the next round? Maybe draw a local derby like Mansfield?
I think so. I think we've been spoilt the last few years, haven't we, with the Chelsea and the West Brom one. Obviously the West Brom one we felt we should have gone through, but we won't go into that. But you know, so we can get there again. We have been spoilt with the draws and how well we've done, but we've only been spoilt because we've beaten teams like Northampton and Wimbledon to get there, and Anstey Nomads away, you know, so you have to go through the less fashionable ties to get to those places. But that's certainly not saying Kettering's going to be a walkover, because we know they've got some threats. We know that if 5 minutes in we're not playing well, it could be a very long day.